So, to get some insight about how some of our administrators feel about our technology, we were able to hear from Dean Edzi, who has been at Hinsdale Central for around 8 years.
All the technology, I think it's to enhance the curriculum. I should look at the camera. To enhance the curriculum, it enhance the classroom experience, to make it more visually appealing, opposed to just lectures or just dry erase boards or whatever. But I think also it's to give students the tools they need to perform in the 21st century, whether
I use my phone in class all the time.
Not a big fan of it. I don't see, me personally, I don't think that's helpful
for
this
math department, yeah.
Right. I would see that more as a potential distraction than anything else.
I think texting is a huge distraction.
Well, what about
not just in a classroom, but
even outside of the classroom? You feel?
I think it's terrible. I mean, there's a reason that states are implementing laws against texting, and there's research out that says that a huge proportion of kids never turn off their cell phone. A huge proportion of kids, the average number of texts, just heard this morning, that a student sends is 50 per day.
I text all the time, and I was just making a phone call. Yeah. Right here. And my phone is on all day, and I'm texting every period.
It's a sequential process. The first time waiting up for your cell phone, it's just a detention. And the second time it's a Saturday detention. The third time it's an in school. I don't think anyone's ever been suspended just for using their phone. I mean, they have been using their phone for inappropriate means, whether it's dealing drugs or something. Then of course there's a much heftier suspension. But texting your mom, it kind of goes along those lines. I think the most anyone's ever gotten is maybe a day or two of in school because they're just addicted to their phone for some reason.
I am Keelan Steinkamp, and I do not use my phone during class.
I called my dad this morning during passing break to call me out for experience. It's not that big of a deal.
The problem that we have is the bandwidth usage. When everybody's, a couple thousand kids have their devices out accessing the internet and everything, that slows us down. So I do have a problem with that kind of student usage because it's impacting our ability to, do what we need to do. I mean, I need to be able to shop online when I want. I'm kidding. But, a teacher needs to be able to get on. But I'm kidding, yeah. Teachers need to be able to get onto things and use them, and, what I would consider kind of frivolous usage of our bandwidth is kind of hurting that.
Yeah.
The problem is, if there were a shooting and every student in the school called their parents, you would clog the cell phone tower. So consequently, emergency personnel who needed to really use those phone lines wouldn't be able to do so.
Students and people in your age group, socialization is the computer. It is the Twitters and the Facebooks and the MySpace. So it'd be like you're not constantly supervising them, in other words, looking directly at their screen. The majority will try and sneak off and take a look. I don't see that there's time or a need to be using and making those kinds of phone calls. We're unique here. We don't have a lot of security issues, but it could be a problem. So I don't see a need to use them during the day or have them out.
When this was, I think it was a summer or two ago, we were cleaning out lockers, and we found a camera in a locker that a senior had left, had never bothered to pick up, and on that digital camera were pictures of certain exams. So I'm not saying most people are doing that. I don't believe that for a second. But because of a small minority of students, we have to implement certain rules.
Why should we be able to go to any website we want?
We can now. They changed it.
Okay, no, that's not true.
Yeah, I just asked my teacher. They took off the block. After HTTP. All right, now. Hey, what are you?
Down there.
HTTP.
Carl, why do you need
you
to?
can't. You put an S.
Why should you be able to text page voice on
If you try to
during
get
the
on
day?
Facebook, you write HTTPS.
Why?
And then you do
If Mike Buglass wants sex their time in school, they should let him.
Yeah, but if you're gay,
But tell me why, Carl.
There's always an educational rationalization for why they block certain websites.
He has the right to communicate.
Do you think folks should be able to sex during school?
Sexting should be allowed. Carly does it all the time, so.
How do you feel about sending naked pictures to school?
If it's with art and dignity, I think it's fine.
Why are you like slowly
Carly sent him.
Carl, why should you be able to use your tablet in school?
I haven't changed.
I use my tablet probably 95% of the time that I'm actually in front of the class teaching. And the other 5% of the time, maybe it's not the best use, so I use something else. But I would say most of the time that I'm in front of the class teaching. You've seen situations where we have days where the projector's not working, or we've got an issue with the network, and I pretty much come into school every day assuming that stuff will be working for me, and if it's not, I have to scramble to figure out an alternative plan. This year in the math department, we now have overhead projection units in every classroom because we were using them so much in the past. And now it's just become one of those things that if it's not available to us, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
Graphing calculators I would consider technology. Computers I would consider technology. You can see my students right now, they're doing a project with data, collecting data from different websites, things that some of them are doing video projects and stuff like that. And without that technology, it'd be next to impossible to do. So in that respect, I think it's good. I see it evolving to the point where all of my students have some form of a tablet, like maybe an iPad or a tablet like the teachers currently use in the classroom. I see them having electronic textbooks. I see a traditional textbook going away.
This is like 10 times better.
I see students, not so much in my class, but I see students using things like e-readers to replace novels and things like that. And then there's some other things that we've seen already, that students use email probably more than they ever had to communicate with each other and their teachers.
Like you said, it's still very helpful.
Oh yeah, it's extremely helpful for me, and I can see some of the other things, Mr. Freeze with Camtasia and everything, and how nice that resource is that a student can get, a lesson. I don't think it substitutes for the classroom lesson, but it's a nice supplement to the classroom lesson. They've gotten that explanation once in class, and then they can follow up on their own time as much as they want and get an idea of, whether they're getting it or not, and fill in some of the cracks. For my students to hear my explanation, and then they can go on to Mr. Freeze's site and get his explanation. It's even better.
Turn that and say, I hope so. I advocated laptops for all students well over 10 years ago. It was pretty much laughed at. We can't. But wireless has made it, yes we can. We don't have to plug everything in, and battery life and computers are much better. So I would hope at some point we can replace a lot of your books and book bags and turn them into your textbooks and a lot of what you do in class.